hip flexor, and quad stretch. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna start Janelle off in that half kneeling position. The front knee is at 90 degrees, the back knee is at 90 degrees. We call that the 90-90 position. She's using an AirX pad. You can just roll up a towel or mat to get some padding on that knee. And what she's basically gonna do is just kind of slide forward, keeping great posture in the spine, of course, and then don't lean forward. You don't want to like bend over at the hip. So go ahead, Jill, just demonstrate like what a lot of people do is they'll just kind of like lean forward and lean into it. That's not what we're looking for. We're not looking for ankle, this is not an ankle mobility exercise, that's something different. She's actually keeping her body really erect, straight up, and she's sliding forward. And a great thing that you can do is, and she's putting her hand on her hip flexor, that's what we're trying to stretch. One of the things I really like to teach people to do is actually put their hand on their glute and flex the glute, because when you flex one side, the muscles on one side of the joint, the opposite side will naturally stretch. For many people, this is going to be enough to get this hip flexor stretched and even the quad. If we want to get to the kind of the next level, we go ahead and we grab that foot from behind, we pull it in. Got to have a little bit of balance, up nice and tall, breathe, and now we're really getting to stretch. And again, we're not leaning forward. The taller we get, the more we squeeze that back butt cheek, the more stretch we're going to get through that hip flexor and then down through that quad. The cat-cow stretch. Essentially what we're doing here is really working through the spinal range of motion. We want to get really super round in the thoracic spine. That's your upper mid-back area. We want to really work the lower, the lumbar, and get some good hyperextension there. So just take a look. I'm going to have Janelle actually just kind of run through it just to give you an example, and then I'll kind of talk through it. So there's that really good extension and then really flexing and rounding that spine. So with this, really taking it nice and slow and trying to feel like almost like one vertebra at a time, especially as you go into that top position where you're really kind of blowing it out and rounding. Now, one of the things I really like to do, so we're going to inhale here, lift the head up, and then really press hard through the hands as you exhale and try to get as high as you possibly can, and just imagine pushing through the ground and getting up as high as you can, and then relaxing into that down position. Really just getting some mobility through that spine. For the child's pose, now to get started, some folks who are really flexible might go toes together, knees together. Most people that we're going to work with, we start them off with toes together, knees apart. And that way you can just go right down into that child's pose, reaching your arms long. The idea is to keep the butt back on the heel, so don't overstretch too far. Sit back with your hips to your heels, but reaching with your hands. And just right here, you want to kind of relax and really take some nice deep breaths. I like 3 seconds in, 6 seconds out. Really enjoy this one. If you want to add to this a little bit of shoulder, you can actually rotate the hands, open as far as you can get them, and then bring them back, internal rotation and external rotation as you do this. Nice little combination exercise or combination stretch. That is the child's pose. We're going to go into the Z sit. So I want to demonstrate how this is actually going to work. So we can do obviously right and left, but we're going to have Janelle go ahead and take that right foot and bring it behind her. And then she naturally brings the left foot in. So the bottom of the foot, the bottom of her shoe is right up against her thigh. And we call this the Z sit. It looks like a Z. And then from here, what she's essentially going to do is she's just going to fall forward and get a really nice stretch through the glutes and the low back. Now with this one, we want to get a good stretch, but we want to make sure that we're not overdoing it or we're kind of just struggling. It should actually feel good. So if you are very, very tight, go more towards the knee, so more towards the outside. That's going to be an easier position. And the wider you go, the easier this is going to be. And then, of course, if you want more stretch, walk yourself in so that you're on the inside. Ideally, you want to be able to get those forearms down on the ground like Janelle has. So if you have to go a little wider, go a little wider. Ultimately, eventually, you get the flexibility. You can be straight on and have your head touching the floor. Fantastic. So for the seated hamstring stretch, Janelle's going to go ahead and bring one leg in and have that bottom of the foot touching her inner thigh, and then one leg is kept long. Now you can see she can very easily go in and touch her hand to her foot. Now what I do want to say is start off nice and tall and take a nice big inhale, get as tall as you can, and then as you exhale, just go as far forward as you can. And if you can only get to the knee, great. The shin, great. Grab that shoe, great. If you can put your head to your knee, wonderful. Just start where you can. I've seen many, many, many people who can barely reach their shin work this day in and day out, and before you know it, they're putting the bottom of their they're putting their entire hand on the bottom of their foot. So take your time with this one and really make sure. This is one a lot of people hold their breath on. You really take nice, really big breaths, and each time you inhale, get tall, and as you exhale, fall a little further into the stretch. Okay, we call this the open book. So Janelle's going to go ahead and put one leg long, and then she's going to take the other leg and cross it over. Now what we like to do is have the knee actually on the ground. So she's going to lay in the position with the knee on the ground. You could also rest the knee on a foam roller, but the idea is the knee is going to stay stationary. We need one part to stay stationary. In this case, we're going to choose the knee down. She's holding it down with her left hand in this case. And she's going to go ahead and open as far as she can. Now, she's able to get her hand to the ground. A lot of folks, when they get this started, their hand is in the air. And they get a little confused, and they end up having their knee off the ground so they get their hand on the ground. What we're going to do is we're going to have the knee stay on the ground, and we're going to rotate the hand only as far as we can go. Now, you can hold this position and take really nice deep breaths. You may struggle with that if you don't have the flexibility, or a larger person might have a little bit of difficulty holding and actually breathing normally, 3 in, 6 out. So in that case, we'll have them actually go through the motion. So she'll inhale, bring her arm back, and then exhale as far as she can, let all of the air out, do it nice and slow, but then when you go ahead and inhale, you'll actually come back for the inhale. Sometimes that inhale in that stretch position can be really challenging. So either version is going to be great. Just go at your capability. Okay, supine or silent breathing. We call it supine breathing because Janelle's laying on her back, and then technically that's the supine position. Silent breathing, it's great at the end of a workout to just really get silent, calm down, bring the central nervous system, kind of into a rest mode. So this can be really challenging for a lot of people to just sit silently and focus on their breathing. So it's really important to pay attention to this one and get good at it to help put you into the recovery or de-stressing mode. So the idea of silent breathing is really to focus on good quality belly breathing, long breaths, at least 3 seconds in and 6 seconds out. Now, Janelle's a natural at this, so we're gonna kind of show how this works. Most people, when they breathe, they can take a big inhale, their chest will rise. So go ahead, Janelle, and take a nice chest breath. We'll see that chest move a little bit. It's kind of hard to see on video, but you can try it on yourself as you're listening. The chest will go up and down. We don't want that. We want the belly to go up and down. So I recommend people, when they first do this, put their hands on their belly, take a big inhale and really kind of push against the hands and feel the belly fill up. And then as you exhale, let it down. Big 3-second inhale and a 6-second exhale. Let your body get silent, de-stress, and go into recovery.